Today's topic is wholesaling. What is wholesaling? And we're talking about real estate. Who should be wholesaling? How does it work? And what are the benefits and what are the downs to it? Guys, my name's Hayden Crabtree. I'm the author of Skip the Flip, best-selling book on real estate investing. You can grab a free copy, link below this video if you want to go grab it for free. But listen, guys, I want to talk about wholesaling. I talk about this in my book. A lot of people are interested in wholesaling, and it does have some really good benefits. I don't think wholesaling is the best place to be spending your time, but I want to talk about it real quick in case you ever do find yourself in a situation where wholesaling makes a lot of sense. Okay, so here's the basic premise of wholesaling. We have a property, and let's say this right here is the property. Let's say my AirPods case is the property, and somebody owns that property, but I want to buy the property. Okay, so in order to buy the property, I have to come up with an agreement. Myself and the owner of the property has to come to an agreement to say how much we're going to sell that property from them to me for. Okay, and I do that when I get an official agreement and it's all wrapped up. I get what we call a contract. Okay, a contract is just a piece of paper that is essentially written agreement. Okay, so a contract is very, very important piece to wholesaling a deal. Okay, so after I get that contract, here's what happens. This contract right here now essentially allows me to have more control over this property than even the property owner does. Okay, because I now have the rights, the sole and exclusive rights, meaning nobody else can do this. I have the rights to purchase that property at a certain amount. Okay, so now the owner who technically owns the property doesn't have the rights to sell it while I have this contract. This contract says that I'm the only person who can buy this for a certain amount of time, whether it be 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 120 days. I'm the only person legally that can buy this property. So the owner of that property now can't go and sell it to someone else. I'm the only person that can do that. And that's where the entire value of wholesaling comes from. In wholesaling, you don't own a property, but you control the property through a contract. Okay, so that's a very important note, that the contract is worth more than the property itself. And that's why whenever we're wholesaling, it's all about controlling the property. So what we want to do is, now that we've had this property and we have a contract to purchase this property, this contract has value. Let's say that this property is worth $100,000. Okay, let's say it's worth $100,000 on the market. But let's say that I, not convinced or, did anything wrong with the property owner, but let's say that I somehow got them to agree to sell the property to me for $70,000 instead of $100,000. So now the property is worth $100,000 and I can buy it legally with this contract at $70,000. That means that this contract now has a value of $30,000. That's how much this contract is worth. It's worth the difference between what the property is worth and how much I have the right to buy it for. Okay, $30,000 is how much this piece of paper, the contract, is worth. Now, what's super interesting about this is that if I do want to buy the property, let's start there. If I do want to buy the property, then I can just pay $70,000 to the owner, and I now have just made $30,000 of equity. Doesn't mean I actually have the money immediately, but if I were to go and sell that property for $100,000, I would make $30,000. Okay. Or the whole goal of wholesaling is to turn those future profits, bring them forward to today. Now, I'm a big fan of buying and holding property, but I'm not going to do that if I don't want the property and there's profit to be made in wholesaling. Okay. So if we find ourselves in a situation where we have a contract on a property and we don't really want to buy the property, we may want to wholesale that even though we're not full-time active wholesalers. It could still make sense for us to wholesale it to somebody else who wants that property more than we do if it doesn't meet our exact criteria. Okay, so that is the situation in which I would want to wholesale something. Doesn't mean I'm actively going to be trying to wholesale all the time, but there is times and places when people who aren't wholesalers would want to wholesale a contract. Okay, so coming back around to that, how I would take this $30,000 right here, the contract between the $100,000 of how much the property's worth and the $70,000 that I can buy the property at. We obviously have a $30,000 spread there. And what I'm going to want to do is go find somebody in the market who wants that property for $100,000, or maybe I'm going to find another investor and I'm going to offer it to them, the contract for say $90,000. And I'm going to pitch it to them like, hey, the property's worth 100. You can buy it for 90. You're going to make an instant 10 grand. It's a great, great deal for you. And by the way, I have the contract. I'm the only one who can buy this house. So let's get a deal done. Okay. So that makes a lot of sense in terms of I'm filling someone else's need, another property investor's need, who wants to buy property and who wants to buy property at a discount. So the house that's worth 100,000, I'm going to go sell it to them at $90,000. Okay. So now they're going to make money and I'm going to make the spread between what I have the contract at, which is 70,000, and how much that other investor is willing to buy it from me for 90,000. So I'm going to make a $20,000 spread there. And guess what? I didn't actually even have to buy the property. I just sold this piece of paper, this contract. It was in my possession, and I'm going to exchange $20,000 for this contract. I'm going to give this contract to the other investor. So this contract, this piece of paper, this written agreement is worth $20,000. And essentially that is the entire goal of wholesaling, is tying up properties at below what they're worth, finding investors or people who want the property and selling it to them still at a good deal, and you making a profit without actually having to buy the property. So this is what wholesaling is. If you ever find yourself in a situation where you have a great deal on a property, but the property doesn't make sense, it doesn't fit your criteria, it's too far away, you don't think the numbers are good enough for you as an investor, but they might be good enough for another investor, it's not a bad thing to wholesale a property. That money is going to be treated like ordinary income, no tax benefits, no depreciation, no leverage, no anything like that. It's an active job. You're trading time for money in terms of you're trying to find people to buy it. You're trying to find sellers. So just know what it is. Call it what it is. Wholesaling is an active job. It is not property investing, but it is a good way to make some money. So if you're on YouTube, that's the end of this lesson. That's how you wholesale. Drop some comments below if you have any questions about that. If you're inside of my Deal Finder Mastery course right now, we're going to keep going to figure out what kind of numbers you actually need to make a wholesale attractive. We're going to go through how to find buyers for your wholesales and the super key words that you actually need in your contract. Because here's another thing. Not all contracts are actually able to be wholesale. It's a legal term in the contract, and the contract has to be written correctly, or else the owner of the property could actually block you from wholesaling. But if you write this one clause in, which we're going to go over in future videos, it doesn't matter if the property owner wants you to wholesale it or not. You're going to have ultimate control of that property. So we're going to go over that next. Again, if you're on YouTube, subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you guys next time.